I can't do it.
Okay.
We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. It. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
All right, welcome in. We're finally here. Hey, better late than never on the Daily Puck Drop here on Friday, May 9th. Sorry for the delay. I was just pulling my best Jim Moore to be a few minutes late. But we're here. There's a person to blame why we're late, and we'll get to that in just a moment. The Daily Puck Drop, we go live every day on Twitter and YouTube. So you can always watch us there, obviously. You can listen to the Daily Puck Drop as well. Yeah, on your own little smartphone. We've got an app, PuckSports mobile app. Download it today from the App Store for you iPhone users, Google Play Store for you Android users, so you can listen to the Daily Puck Drop live as you're walking around, doing chores. You can plug it into your car. We're also on Apple CarPlay there as well. The point is you got choices at 10 a.m. And damn it, you need choices, all right? You got choices at 10 a.m. If you're watching it live or listening to it live and you're like, well, I want to catch everything that I missed. Well, you can catch everything you miss as well. Up on YouTube after 11:30, we post it up as fast as we can. Usually available for you at noon. Puck Sports there on YouTube, also on all your favorite podcast platforms. You know all the ones, right? Apple, Spotify. Does anyone use a podcast platform that's not Apple or Spotify? I really don't think so. But there are others out there. Whatever you choose, it is available for you. All right, we come via the Limbach Lumber Studios. Still looking for a new baseball coach. Took one on the chin again last night. God damn. Limp into the finish line. It's all coaching, just coaching. Limbach Lumber Studios. I hope they have me back. I'd like to be back. And I'd like them to continue to be the sponsor of this show. But they may be like, hey, man, we sponsor this in part because we thought you were going to be a good baseball coach, and you're not. Clearly, you are not. Contractors, they offer free deliveries from everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects, largest stock moldings in the Northwest, old school service. They've been doing it since 1930. Give Limbach Lumber a call, 206-782-3487. Visit them online, limbachlumber.com. You can follow me on all the social media platforms. If you don't know, Puck Sports on Twitter, on Blue Sky and Instagram. Put all of our show content up on those. Video clips and things like that. Also, Puck_sports on TikTok there as well. Also, website, PuckSports.com. You can sign up there. You can become a Puck's Posse member, by the way. And this news that we have here momentarily, you'll want to sign up even more. So you can go there. $5 a month is all it costs you. You're supporting everything we do here free. Daily, the Daily Puck Drop, all the free content we give you, plus VIP and bonus material as well. Our MLB Insider show there with Ryan Divish that comes out on Wednesdays. The Sports Pit with Steve Sandmeyer, Matt Stretch Johnson comes out on Mondays. By the way, also, of course, we help and we produce the Garage with Gas Take 5 podcast, which is out on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. And you can find it up at PuckSports.com. So, again, PuckSports.com. Sign up there to become a member. Also, with the PGA Championship, God, we're getting closer to that. We'll have our Puck to Picker Majors pool back, brought to you by Synthetic Turf Northwest. Big thanks to Synthetic Turf Northwest. Listen, Jim Moore was talking about this the other day. You want a new lawn because you're tired of mowing it and you're tired of watering it. If you live in Seattle, you know what I'm talking about. You're tired of the weeds and you'd like a brand new synthetic lawn. And then you'd say, well, I'd like to work on my golf game as well. Well, what do you know? Synthetic Turf Northwest. They're the best. I got a synthetic turf lawn in my backyard, plus a 3-hole putting green. Putting's better than ever. It's the best thing, literally the best decision we ever made. The dogs don't track in mud, all that kind of stuff. Synthetic Turf Northwest is the presenting sponsor of Puck the Picker Majors Pool, which will be back edition 2 with the PGA Championship. If you haven't signed up, you still have time to sign up. You can still make your picks. Picks will come out I think it's Sunday night when you can actually make your picks. But you can still sign up and try to get one of the prizes, by the way. Even though you're behind the 8 ball because you missed the Masters, you can still sign up. and play Puck the Picker Majors Pool. The link is up on the website at PuckSports.com. First place, stay and play package at Gamble Sands. Second place is a foursome at Fairwood Golf and Country Club. Third place is a foursome at Mill Creek. And fourth place is a foursome at one of the Troon's Seattle Premier golf courses, plus a range session at one of their courses for an hour, either at Interbay, Jackson, or Bill Wright. Bill Wright, formerly Jefferson. All right, we got the Mariners homestand, which starts tonight against the Toronto Blue Jays. As we talked yesterday with Brad Adam, tariff should be tariff central tonight. All right, tariffs on all things Blue Jays coming up tonight as they start the series. Castillo will be on the mound against Kevin Gasman. Tomorrow will be Logan Evans and Bowden Francis. And then tomorrow, Sunday, it looks like Bryce Miller will pitch on Sunday. So Mariners come back. They've been red hot. As Adam Jude noted, I think in the paper, it was yesterday or today. I mean, this is their best start since 2003 after 36 games, 22-14. They're just playing red hot baseball. We're all trying to figure out how they're doing it, why they're doing it, what has led to this. There was a quote from Dipoto. He said, it's hard to imagine. This is from Adam Jude's piece. Hard to imagine it going any better than it's gone. And then he's right about this next quote. It sounds like a movie or something, but that's the way that we're playing. It's playing. And he's right. There's a movie quality to it, a magic quality to it, which then in a way says that the job that you did in the offseason really wasn't that good because you didn't expect any of this to happen. And if I'm being glass half empty, and there are some of us that are waiting for that other shoe to drop for this season. I'm just going to say this, and we've said it from the get-go. You can be upset and mad like I am about the inactivity in the offseason, what they didn't do to address their problems. Will it be something eventually that will bite them as we get later into the season? Because it's still so early. See, we can't play both sides of this, and we do this as sports fans all the time. If they were off to a bad start, if they were 14-22, you'd have people saying, well, it's still early. Still a lot of baseball to be played. They can turn it around. Agreed. And I always agree with that. You can still be upset in the meantime, like in the immediacy of it, you can be upset, but you can also say, well, there's plenty of time to turn around. Flip side is also true. I mean, it still is early in the season. It's just 36 games of a 162-game season. There still is plenty of time for them and any of the other teams playing well to completely shit the bed and fall apart. But I think you have to enjoy every game and every series as it passes. And right now, for me, and probably for many of you, I sit down every night, whether I watch it or listen to it, and I'm just thoroughly enjoying it. It's fun enjoying baseball. One, because of how they're playing. They win games differently each night. It seems like they get a contribution from somebody each night that is different. So I enjoy it. I enjoy how they play. There is a difference of how they've played from a year ago to how they play now. Well, at least a year ago under Scott Service, and how they changed things around that final 30 games. So there are better at-bats. There are longer at-bats, more competitive at-bats. They're running more. They're more aggressive. And these are some of the things that probably comes over from Dan Wilson that he's brought, to this year's team. And they put the ball more into play. They aren't just reliant, they're not striking out as much anymore. Still hitting a lot of home runs, and that's a big part of why they're so successful. But there's no denying the numbers, what they've done offensively. And I will challenge anyone to step forward and say, well, I saw this coming. Nobody saw this coming. No, nobody at all had seen what they have been able to do. And it's been a damn fun ride. Now, it's a Friday. Normally, the go-to guy would be here, Jim Moore. He says Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. It's really like Monday, sometimes on a Wednesday, likely never ever appearing ever again on a Friday. I'm joking. His appearances are brought to you by a Clean Streak, a professional window exterior cleaning services. Thank you to Brian. Sorry, Brian, you're not getting your money's worth from Jim Moore. All right, my apologies. But Jim is traveling, I think, back up here right now, driving up here to Seattle to spend Mother's Day with his mom. And we'll repeat it, but happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. You're the best. Thank you to my mom who's coming up tomorrow. Thank you to, and I'll probably, what I'm about to say, many of you will echo the same things. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for driving me to every sporting event. Thank you for when I was playing tackle football at 8 years old, I would get into full uniform, Mom, and then we would go out in the backyard and I would tackle you, even though you're 4'9", 4'10" and you weigh about 100 pounds, and you would let me just hit you, and you just kept getting back up. You kept getting back up like you were Walter Payton, and I would repeatedly hit you and hit you and hit you to practice tackling. The best. Always on my side, always supportive, just always there. And like a lot of moms, they are the bedrock of every family. I've got a great mom, got a great mother-in-law. My kids have got just an awesome rock star mom. So happy Mother's Day to all their moms out there. And if you are a baseball mom, happy Mother's Day to you, because nothing screams like it's your day than spending all weekend at a baseball tournament, which I think many of you are. And raise your hand if you're like me, your family will be at a baseball tournament that's around this area. It's been going on for years. If you play youth club baseball, called Bombs for Moms. And I'm going to look around tomorrow and Sunday, especially on Sunday, when all these moms are out there begrudgingly to support their son for Bombs for Moms, and going, there's no other place you'd rather be than right here. But you know what I do for them? Did this last year. We brought something called mimosas. I mixed up a bunch of mimosas for these moms. And I mean, some of them got real shit-faced last year. I'll tell you that. Really overserved themselves. But good for them, because it's their day. So happy Mom's Day to all of you out there. Thank you for always being there for us. All right, coming up. So, again, no Jim Moore today. No Chris Egan, because Egan's flying back from Arizona. I think Austin, his son that's pitching, was his last game this week. So I think he was down in Arizona to watch him pitch in junior college, and then was coming back up today. So we'll have Egan on next week. Jim will be on next week, and all that stuff. So just wanted to let you know where those guys are out. The Scout is coming up later. We'll play that around 11 o'clock. The Scout will come back and give us the very latest, his thoughts on the Mariners. Of course, we wrap up every show with Hey, What the Puck. I put Rafael Devers there. We're going to get to Rafael Devers in Hey, What the Puck. The reason I was late to start the show today was because we have a very special guest on today who's going to be with us. And I'll let you, the audience, decide if you want this guest to be on weekly with me. And I joked with him and have been joking with him, hey, the people have been clamoring for us to do something together. Would you please have Mitch on? Mitch Levy, will you please get him on? Well, I don't know. I had to go through his people, his PR, everybody in his PR staff. He's got a staff of 100. I had to send like an email, then like a written letter. Then we had to ask permission to have him on. His agent, all that. Well, I don't know if Mitch Unfiltered could go on your platform. I don't know. But this is a thrill for me. We're hoping to do this weekly. We did this. We recorded this early this morning just because we wanted to record it first and play back. That's why I was late, because he went so damn long, as he always does. But he tells at the end that we talked about Little League, and he told a great story about a Little League team and player he coached when they were like 9 and 10. It was great. But this is a thrill for me. I like to throw a lot of compliments at him and all the people that I used to work with at KJR. Mitch was a huge influence on my life, on my career, how I look at sports, how I wanted to present sports. Same thing with Graz, same thing with Gas, Softy, David Locke, those guys. When I was working there initially, when I went to Portland, worked with Ian for those years. I mean, I've taken something from everyone, but when it goes back to how I've always wanted to do a show, and I probably was always going to do it this way anyway. So I've always wanted to do a show. It was always going to mirror what Graz and Gas always did to a degree, and then how Mitch had always been entertaining and wanted to make people laugh, and how we can veer off sports. And that's what this place is. I mean, we joke in this episode, hey, if you're coming here to get hard-hitting analysis on the Mariners and the Seahawks and all that kind of stuff, and real X's and O's, this ain't for you. And that's not a knock on the people that do it. There's plenty of shows out there that do that. If that's your cup of tea, great. This is not that. And I think people know that. So he and I are very in line like that. I'm going to shut up now and just play it. It's like 40-plus minutes. I'll repeat it. We are going to, well, it's up to you if you want us to do this weekly. We want to do it weekly. We're going to let the audience decide if we should do it weekly. And hopefully you do enjoy it. There'll be a catch to it when we do it weekly. The plan is to do it live and have them on. But once it's over, then it will disappear and it will be part of Mitch Unfiltered, his Patreon page, patreon.com/Mitchy the Kid, and then the Puck's Posse page when you go to patreon.com/PuckSports. So to watch and listen to it after it's done live, you have to become a member either of Mitch Unfiltered or Puck's Posse. All right, that's it. Enough of that. We'll get to that later. All right, here it is. His debut on the Daily Puck Drop. Mitch Unfiltered. Look at this. You know what? It's interesting is that, hold on, people have been begging for this. I get messages all the time. Will you please do something with Mitch? Please do something with Mitch.
You do not.
All the time. I get it. Look at you. Look how beautiful you look. Ladies and gentlemen, Mitch Levy. I can't believe I'm the one that has to drive this right now. You should be the one doing it.
Well, you're the one who decided we're doing it on your platform. We're doing it on Puck at 10 a.m. on daily. I mean, you made the decisions, and now you're regretting the decisions. And second of all,
I am regretting it.
I've got lots of questions.
I bet
First
you
of
do.
all, how many people really? I mean, is it 2? How many people?
I don't know.
3? Well, that wanted this, really.
I am telling all the time. I get messages all the time. Will you please do something with him? Because he needs to pull up this train wreck of a show that you have, and he's the only one that can make it better. And then I'm like, well, that's a kind of like a backhanded compliment.
I thought you were going to say because he needs some help with his reclamation project that's going on for 7 years.
Yeah.
And he needs some help. I have not been asked to be on the Sports Pit. I know those guys, by the way. I have not been asked to be on with Jim Moore. I know that guy. You know, I sit here and I watch at 10 a.m. I stop what I'm doing. My wife says to me, honey, what is it at 10 a.m. that you can't speak to me? I said, I gotta pay attention. Somebody's doing something here.
Yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what you've been getting from your wife. All right, so we're gonna be doing this. This one I think is gonna be open and free to everyone, but we're gonna start doing it next week.
Yeah.
I think we'll do it on Thursdays, but I think we're doing it Thursdays, right?
What do you mean we're going to start doing this next week? Are we not start? Is this not the official start of it?
This is the official start. But now it's open to everybody. But next week when we do it airs live. When I go live at 10 a.m., it will be, not exactly sure what time we'll do it, but it will be live at 10 a.m.
Yes.
And then once the live show is over, so people get it for free during the live show.
Yeah.
But once we end it at 11:30, then your appearance goes dark.
Yeah.
And then it will only be there for you call him patron, I guess patron. I like how you did that too. It's really smart how you did it. It will only be for your patron members. So Mitch Unfiltered or patreon.com Mitchy the Kid, correct?
Yes, patreon.com Mitchy the Kid, but on your platform.
And then on mine, you can just go to pucksports.com, and then at the very top is the link to the Patreon page, the Puck's Posse.
Yeah. So a couple of other questions that I have for you is, you say you've been getting these emails or these requests for you to have me on, do something with him. Why? How long have you been doing this now? Why did it take so long? Have you been nervous about having me be a part of it? My history, my background, my issues. What? I mean, let's since this is the first one, let's make this. And I think we need do we need a title of this, or is this just going to be Am I just another Jim Moore? Am I just another Ryan Divish?
No, let's do that. Just another Jim Moore.
Another Jim Moore.
I kind of wanted to base it off the Tuesdays with Maury, Thursdays with Mitch.
Oh, I see.
I kind of like that.
I see.
I know. Well, have the people decide.
Yes. Well, so I have that question. Why did it take so long? Why did it take so long?
I don't know. I don't know if there's an answer to it. It had nothing.
You were hesitant. It's okay. I mean, we're being transparent here.
No, it had nothing. No, it had nothing to do with. I had nothing to do with anything that happened in the past. I just think it was, if there was me being hesitant at all, was probably just like, no, I wouldn't want to do anything with you.
Really?
No, like you would say, no, I'm
Oh,
good.
that's not true. I've reached out to see now. You're not being transparent.
I swear, that's
if
it.
This thing, Puck. If this thing is going to work on Thursdays, no bullshit. There can be no bullshit on this.
Yeah.
You were hesitant. I reached out to you.
Well,
we knew that I was on board.
We did I reached out to you, what was it, a couple months ago. I was just and wanted advice. I wanted to know how you were doing things on your show. But that's exactly what I did.
Something comical about you asking me for advice about a podcast. What do I know?
I'll get into the fact that you do a podcast now, that when we worked at KJR for years and years and years, you really swore off the whole podcast and everything.
There's a reason. We can discuss that. Yeah, we can discuss
that. I reached out to Mitch and I just said, hey, I'm just curious of what you're doing. This was probably at the time where I was getting a little bit more into the Patreon side of things.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what do you do? What's
I was at the pool. I was at the pool.
You were at the pool. That's exactly right. It looked pretty. The background was wonderful. I was like, geez, where are you? I'm like, damn. I'm like writing down my notes. Well, Jesus, if this thing is really working out for him, I better start upping the price. And so I was just curious how you did it.
Yeah.
And then that's when you kindly reached out and said, hey, I'm going to bring back the prediction show. You want to be a part of it? I said,
that's right. You were on the prediction show.
I said, that's great.
Yeah. Well, I edited out the very first prediction you got right. I edited it completely out.
And then at that point you just said, hey, are you interested in doing something weekly? And I was at this point, this full transparency. My dog I thought was dying, and I'm taking her to Washington. Yeah. I'm taking her every week to Pullman to get her not cured, but worked on.
How's she doing?
She's doing great. She's the tumor's gone. It's completely shrunk. I mean, the cancer's not gone, but the tumor's shrunk. Yeah. And then I'm coaching basketball. I'm coaching.
We talk about that. We've got
baseball. I got all this stuff. This is the same time that I'm talking to Gas, because Graz and Gas want to do something.
Oh.
Where they're just not with me, but they want to hey, would you help us produce it? And help us put it out. I said, yeah, no problem. I'll do that.
Oh my God, you become an empire.
No, that's right. Right. Exactly. I said, yeah, of course I'll do that. So they needed some help with editing and getting it out there. Yeah. And then I had been working to your two old alums. Oh. I had been working with Sandmeyer and Stretch for so long.
Yeah.
And just beating them down. And I was so singularly focused on
Sandmeyer, who's retired, right? He doesn't do this stuff. He doesn't do that stuff anymore.
He doesn't do it anymore.
I don't do that. That's my past.
Yeah.
I'm on to other things. I don't do that stuff anymore.
Yeah, right? I think you do a special appearance. I think it'd be great.
Oh, okay.
But it's so there was just a lot going on, and then that was it. That was nothing else.
So do you think that this is going to work? Do you think, and I have my reservations, I think there's a chance, as if I'm being fully transparent, I think there's a chance that this segment that we've now declared is going to be a weekly thing on your platform on Thursdays, and then it's going to be live on social media, if I got this right, live stream like it is right now, but where it's going to be different than this show is once it's over, it's going to disappear.
Yeah.
And it's going to end up on your patron side and my patron side. Yep. I'm hopeful that it's going to work out. I'm hopeful that this is going to be compelling on some level. But I'm going to be completely honest. I think there's a chance it will be horrible. I mean, literally the word. No, I'm not trying to make you laugh here. I think there's a chance it could be terrible. I'm going to tell you why. All right, I'm going to tell you why. I joined KJR. I actually went for an audition in December of 1994. 94, believe it or not. And I started 2 weeks later. And I did the midday show for about 15 months, and then I did the morning show for 21, 22 years, okay? And I'm going to say that the shows that I was familiar with before I arrived, not all of them, I didn't know about all of them, but I knew of some of them on KJR, Gaston or whatever. And then all the shows and all the people, all the men and women that have come through KJR in the years after I started, okay? I was thinking about this last night as I was really nervous about starting this with you. I was thinking about how, of all the people that have come through there, there's a chance that you kind of approach and think of a radio show most similarly to me, the way I approach and the way I look at the warped way that we look at, the medium. Let's call it the medium, a sports radio talk show. There's a chance, and not a chance. I think I've gone through all the names in my mind and all the people who've done shows. I think, and that doesn't, I'm not right. I mean, I just look at it one way and not many people look at it, but I feel like you and I look at it the same way. And so how does that translate to me being concerned that this could fall flat on its face? Well, we're very similar. If we are similar in the way we approach what we do, you don't really want two people that are similar. Mm-hmm. And it could just stink. I mean, it could be just terrible. It could be so bad that whatever, I don't know how many patrons you have. I don't even know how many patrons I have, but they could literally start exiting. They could start deleting their account because of this. You think that extra content, people would come and maybe join and spend the $5. How much does it cost to be a patron of yours?
$5.
$5 here too. Yeah.
That's a good deal. That's like a cup of coffee.
How about when you get the notification each month of how many credit cards didn't go through, and you start losing people? You start losing people on the first of the month. You get this this, oh my God, they're gone. The number just goes down every month.
I do like when you get a bunch of, because it does make you feel good. I mean, you've gone through this, right?
Yeah.
We're going to circle back to this whole thing in a second.
Yeah.
Because it does feel good that people are supporting you. Because when I started it, because a lot of the stuff we do that I do is free, but then we started some side stuff because, there's a lot of effort and time that goes into all of this.
Right.
The live stuff. I mean,
right.
I'm doing essentially just a radio show again.
Right. That's right.
So, we've got wonderful sponsors that are part of it and all that, but I wanted to also reach out and I knew people, I didn't know how many people, but I had a feeling that people would support it. They would support, and
right.
I think people like, me or they like you. They just
no. I think they support you for a different reason than they support me, if I'm being honest.
Well, they
support you because they like you and they want to hear what you're going to do next and what this is going to be all about. They pay the $5 for me because they say he might need some help with attorney's fees. I mean, he might have some things going on in his world where he needs this fight. They don't support you because of the bills that you're getting from your lawyers.
So I just, it was, so I do like when it comes in, but then I do I'll peek, not very often, maybe once a month I'll look and why'd that guy drop? And then you get the reason. Hey, why did you stop spending the money?
Right.
Not what I expected. I want to reply back.
Don't you, man. Listen. Don't have. All right. So do you agree with the notion that you and I kind of, in our own little ways, approached what we did on KJR all those years fairly similarly, or no? Do you not?
100%, because it's easy. I mean, you don't remember this, but I interned under you. I listened to you. You're one of the people that I modeled my career after. I mean, really? But I took from all of you guys, a little bit from Graz, a little bit from Gas, a little bit from Softy, all those guys. Yeah. But from you, yes, 100%. The way that I present, the way that I like to host the show, the way that I like to interact with the show, it is 100% based on listening to you, just being in the same building as you. And I think a lot of people are like that, whatever job that you do. So your interview skills, I mean, it's top notch. I mean,
yeah, but I think it's your. I mean, I wasn't fishing for a compliment. I'm actually very uncomfortable with the way this conversation. In fact, I think I was right now. I think this is not going. This is not going. We need to reevaluate.
Yeah.
But I'm not asking you to. I'm just your nature. I think it's your personality. If you had never heard my show, you were really an intern on my show. If you had never heard my show, I feel like that you would have gone down the same road. In fact, when you were on with Jim Moore, even more. I mean, you and I never really particularly worked together when we were.
Other than like we would do like the round table stuff.
Yeah. So we were very rarely on the air together. And I just remember, from time to time being in the car and hearing you and Jim, and thinking to myself, they look at it. By the way, it doesn't make you good. It doesn't make you right. They just look at it. These two guys look at it the way I kind of.
Well, here's what I didn't like about, and when you were coming up in the business, it was more like I think how we did the show,
right?
And then it kind of, and then it changed, right? Oh. It changed with like. Maybe it was the PPM meters and all that stuff, and these people coming in saying it's got to be NFL and it's got to be all the time.
Right.
My number one goal all the time, and you probably share this, is I just want someone to laugh. Since I've been a kid, I just want someone to laugh and be entertained. And if it's sports that makes them laugh or entertains them, great. If it's storytelling or stuff in my life, wonderful. I'm not I look at myself as in this platform, and not if you're coming here for like the hard hitting, like Seahawks Mariners breaking it down, as they like to say, and like we're going to get in the weeds on all that stuff. That's just not me. I mean, I view sports as someone who sits at the end of a bar and talks with everybody at the bar about sports. So I don't get caught up in like the war and F war and all that other stuff.
I'm with you.
He hits the ball really hard, and I really like how he does it. And that's how I have always enjoyed sports. I don't like to get too analytical about it. And I don't like how everything is like, the teases coming up next. We'll talk about the Seahawks. Do they have a quarterback battle or not? I don't.
Oh, but you got to do that if you're with certain program directors.
I just don't. Yeah, it doesn't.
Got to do that.
Interest me.
Yeah. You see, I agree with everything that you just said. I think it was different when I started. You're so much younger than me, but when I started at KJR anyway, what you're describing was not happening. And when I came from the East Coast, kind of brash, kind of talked about non-sports, kind of veered off, didn't do X's and O's, did my own thing, it was like culture shock for Seattle, anybody who listened to KJR. And I can just recall that this was like December, January, 94, 95. I could just recall when I would walk out of the studio, there was a fax machine behind Lori at the front desk. Okay. And I was so hated when I started that when I would walk by, people would like stand up and hide they didn't want me seeing the fax machine because faxes were coming in. Like, get this guy out of here. I was like 3 weeks on the job and the faxes were rolling in. I can remember people like, don't let Mitch near the fax machine. Don't let him near the fax machine. So it was like really, really weird back then. And then slowly, but I mean, when I first came, I was convinced after the first few weeks I was going to be out of there. I was going to be out of there within 8 weeks. Gastineau, I mean, the famous Gastineau story. See, where I came from was a station in Washington, D.C., and just for whatever reason, we left the studio door open while shows were going on. So while Kornheiser was doing the show or while James Brown, people would go in and out and in and out, and we would just leave the door open. And so I didn't know any other way. And so, and maybe sometimes we closed the door and people would come in and out. It wasn't like, oh my God, the door's closed, so stay out and it's the on-air sign. It wasn't like that. People went in and out, okay? This is just the way and so my first like 2 weeks, Gastineau's doing a show and I needed something in the studio like a cart. And so I literally walked into his studio while he was on the air to get the cart. And he looked at me like, who who is this guy? Get him out. He just walked in my studio. And he walked out. And he said, he looked at me and he said, Gastineau says, don't you ever do that again. It's like during a commercial break. Don't you ever do that again. And I said to him, I'm so sorry. In D.C., we went in and out. I didn't realize it. I apologize. And he said, look out that window. That's not the Washington Monument. That's the Space Needle. And he turned around and slammed the door and went back into the studio. You ask Gastineau about that the next time you. That's not the Washington Monument. That's the Space Needle.
Oh God, I can envision him doing that, and I just can 100% envision him doing that.
And then listen to what I did. So, do you remember when the Seahawks played the Dolphins in that playoff game? 99, perhaps it was. I'm almost positive that's what it was. I may be mixing up the sports events. But Gaston, it was a weekend thing. So Gastineau would do two promos for his show going to the weekend, depending upon whether they won or whether they lost. And it would be well marked. It would say, here's my promo if they win that we want you to play. And here's my promo if they lost. And I think it was the Dolphins. I'm almost sure it was a Dolphins-Seahawks game. So one of them was like, hey, this is Mike Gastineau. What a win last night for the Seahawks. We're going to talk all about it on our show on Monday afternoon, right? And then the other one that he recorded on Friday was, hey, it's Gasman here. Boy, tough one yesterday. We'll talk all about it. Different tenor because they. So he had two different ones. And so on the Monday morning, I'm doing the morning show. I decided to only play the wrong one. So I tell Stretch, whoever it is at the board at the time, Hotshot, hey, listen, every time the Gastineau promo comes up, I want you to play the wrong one.
I can't just imagine how mad he would get.
Okay, so it may not have been he could probably tell you what event it was because maybe it wasn't 99 because we were in the old studio 190 Queen Anne. And so like within 5 minutes, Puck, of me playing the wrong one on purpose and laughing about it. So it must not have been the Seahawks Dolphins. Maybe it was a Mariners play. I don't know what it was. I see out that window him storming by. He had come from his house or wherever he was. He's storming by, going into the management's office. We are having a meeting at 10 a.m. when you're off the air. We're having a meeting. Oh God, I was in so much trouble.
Who was the program director? Is it Tommy Lee?
I think it was Tom Lee, and I think Tom Lee. This went over Tom Lee's head. This was a full-fledged Mike Gastineau. Matt Gastineau was like, okay, this is the straw that breaks the camel's back. He's playing a promo of me celebrating a win when they lost. Okay, and he called a meeting. I think it was in Michael O'Shea's office. 10 a.m. Not even 10 a.m. 9:56. When you go to break, we are having a meeting. Okay. And boy, I was in trouble. So I got off on the wrong foot with Gastineau.
That's all of it. I would just sit back and whether like at that time when I first started there with 2003.
Yeah.
So I would do updates from like 10 to 2. Then I would go down to Safeco and do updates from down there, get all the player interviews and all that BS. But to me, school was great. I got a communications degree, all that whole stuff, broadcast journalism, WSU, Edward R. Murrow School of Communication. But the best, teaching was just sitting back. And I'm complimenting you. I would sit back and listen to you. And I don't think Hotshot is there, but it's Sandmeyer's there and Stretch is there. That was the heyday crew, right? It's you, Sandmeyer, and Stretch. And then it was Softy, and then it's Groz for an hour by himself, then it's Groz and Gas, and then it's Locke in the evening. I would just I'd listen to all of it. I would just take it all in, and
that's nice.
And try to get as much in, and probably try to figure out like what if I'm on air, like how do I want to sound? What do I want to be like? And for you guys were like that where it went off topic. It wasn't all sports. Groz and Gas were like that. My God, there'd be an hour and a half. There would be nothing about sports, nothing. And then they would do these interviews of like I'd ask myself, why am I paying attention to a guy that's on here to talk about the Westminster Dog Show? But I would be captivated by it because the guy was good, and so their rapport was good. So I don't know. It just was. It was kind of like it was like going to getting a master's degree, but without actually getting it. Just sitting and watching it and taking from everyone. So
and listening and watching your phenomenal idea of the Sports Pit with Matt Stretch Johnson, who, by the way, I gave him his nickname. Do you know that?
I don't know that.
Oh, yeah. So I'll get that to the second. But watching those two guys and the Sports Pit with Jason Puckett, I realized that we made a gigantic mistake on KJR all those years. You call them the heyday years with Stretch and me and Sandy.
That was great.
We should have had Sandmeyer off mic like 10 feet from a microphone where you could hardly hear him. I think it would have added the ambiance to the show because I didn't realize how effective and impactful that would be when I watched.
He sounded better this past week. He pulled it up a little bit closer.
What is wrong with that guy?
He has it. Sometimes
Sandy, if you're listening to this, what is wrong with you? Come on.
He's living his best life. Half the time, I just got to make sure, is he outside with a cocktail and a cigar?
How'd you get him to come out of retirement? I mean, I thought even he has texted me, Mitch, those days are so far behind me. I don't do that stuff anymore.
He's going to tell the story to you one time. I used a very powerful woman in my life, the CEO of my family, who he adores. He adores my wife.
I see.
So I would go over. He's got this little thing at his house. He calls it Reno.
What is that?
Backyard. He's got all these TVs set up. It's underneath his deck, so it's covered. And he's got TVs everywhere. He's got a beer fridge out there. There's gambling going on. He's got a board that he puts up.
What do you mean there's gambling going on?
Like sports gambling. He puts this.
People are coming up to him and making bets. And, like neighbors, like neighbor folks, neighbor kids are coming up and saying, "I'll take." Oh wow!
Neighbors everywhere. And he's got this beautiful board that he puts up like during the football season. All these games, and he's got every game.
Really?
Oh, the line, the over/under, the start time, what channel? It's amazing. So you go there on a Saturday, and people are coming in and out. And so I go there, quite a few times in the fall, and I've been working on forever. I knew Stretch.
Oh, Stretch would do it.
Stretch will do anything. He just loves doing it.
Which is amazing that you got him in front of a microphone. I've had him on a few shows.
Yeah.
To get him to even know how to click a link is
right.
Stretch and I. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So then I just kept working on Sandy and just, no, it was always no. And then so finally I brought her over and I just said, hey, why don't you come over one of these times? And then you talk to him and then she's just like laid into him. And then he's like, okay, I'm in.
Is he enjoying it?
I think he says he doesn't, but I think secretly he does enjoy it. I think he says,
He's like Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
That's like when he retired, like 12 different times.
I think
it's in your blood. You can't not do it.
I haven't said it to him. Well, and I haven't said it to both of them, but they are so good. They're just because they just get it. I talked earlier about just sitting around a bar talking sports. That's what they're like.
Yeah.
It's two guys that I've known forever that just like talking about sports and other shit and then giving me and other people shit about everything. And it's just so easy going because what I told them, I said, hey, when we're over there at your house and we're sitting around, your buddies are all over there. That's what I want. I don't want anything other than just that.
Yeah.
And so it's good.
It's good.
It's fun.
And it can only be heard. Where's the bell? Oh. It can only be heard
on your Pucks Posse membership page. Sign up at PuckSports.com for Patreon.com. Yeah. Just like this is going to be next week.
I don't know that we're going to make it this week. How old are your kids now? You have two, right?
Yeah, my daughter is turning 16 next week.
Yeah.
In five days.
16.
16, yeah.
Like going to be a high school junior or rising junior?
She's a sophomore right now.
Yeah, so she's going to be a rising junior.
Yeah, and then my son's 11, turns 12 in August, and he's great.
That's amazing.
Baseball, sports.
You coach both of them or just one? Just the son?
She is, I coached her when she was younger in a bunch, like boys and girls club stuff, but she has been since like 4, a super competitive gymnast.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
Like super competitive as in college gymnast?
She was on a path to do it, but then this like last year and a half, she decided, no, I don't want to go through college like you do. There's like a club gymnastics,
Yeah,
pretty high level that she was at, and she just decided about a year ago, I don't want to go that route anymore. It's a lot of effort and time, and then the skills. It's just you start to get to this point now where it's like, I mean, these girls. I mean, the girls that she was doing it with. I mean, one has got scholarship offers to every school in the country. I mean, Florida, Oklahoma. I mean, Utah, all the powerhouse schools.
Now, did she have an event, or was she just a multifaceted? I don't know, Jim.
Yeah. She did them all, or does them all, but floor is her best. So she this year, so I guess it wasn't not a year ago. It was this winter. She said, "I'm going to step away from the club gymnastics. I'm going to join the high school team, Ballard High School here in Seattle."
Okay,
she joined that. They had a fantastic season. They won the state championship. First time a public school in Seattle's ever won a public gymnastics state championship. It was their first state title. She won as a sophomore the state championship on the floor.
Wow!
So it was it was the best decision she ever made.
And you love coaching your son, right?
Well, sometimes.
No. Oh, come on! You love.
I love
not the best coaching.
I love it, but it's like as he's getting older. Like
you get to a point where somebody else has to coach your son, but he's not there yet. You said he's 11.
He's 11, but it's getting like so.
Baseball, basketball. What do you?
So football, I help out, but I'm not the main guy.
You're not running like the Washington State offense or something like that.
No, but we should. We can't handle that.
You're not running.
We can't snap the ball, for God's sakes.
Do you notice that on your level with him at 11 playing football, that the offensive linemen aren't as schooled as they once were, and they're not being prepared the right way so that they don't get the college ready, and then the NFL offensive lines are all struggling? Have you noticed that?
I've passed it on to John Schneider.
That's a lazy narrative. Everybody who says that the Seahawks offensive line is no good, that's lazy. Go ahead. So you love. So
football and then basketball is always good. Baseball is the one because I think he loves baseball the most. So I think as I coach him in Little League and I've coached him through T-ball. I think as he's gotten older and then he plays Little League, but now he plays on a club team as well.
Yeah.
As he gets more competitive and more into it, I think that's the one sport he would like me to stop. Like this is the last year of Little League. I think he's like
because he realizes you just don't know anything. And
yes,
just because people think that because you were on the radio, I went through this myself years ago. Oh, Mitch was on the radio. Could he be the coach of ours? I mean, that's like telling a guy who's like a freaking medical assistant.
Yeah, but it's the things. If I tell him, it's just the one sport where if I tell him something, hey, you need to, spread your feet out a little bit more, get more balance, get your hands higher. And that's the one sport. I can tell him something in football or basketball. Yeah. He's like, okay, I got you. Baseball, he's like, no, don't talk.
Can I tell you? I mean, I don't know the time. Are we done now? I mean, is this over?
Let's give it a couple minutes. Yeah.
I've got. I don't know the timing of your. Yeah. This is why it's great that it's on your show, because you can just run it and tell me how long to talk and when to stop. And I do realize that if it does fall flat, it's really flat on your platform.
It's a veteran move, sir.
I think anybody who's watched this knows this is not heading in the right direction. Yeah. But can I just tell you my favorite coaching story from my past?
Do it.
It's a little bit lengthy, but I think you'll really like it. I think people – can I use the kid's name 9 years later, or should I not use the kid's name?
I would use a different name.
God, it's such a good name, though. It adds to this.
Okay, well, then use the name. I don't care.
So my son was probably – my youngest – I have two boys. One whose birthday is today, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, happy birthday.
The oldest one is turning 23, Michael Jordan. I sent him like gifts. This is what old men do. I sent him like gifts of Michael Jordan dunking 23, whatever. 23 today, Max Levy. Happy birthday. Anyway, when my younger one was like 9 or 8, I coached his baseball team. Like, I think they called it AAA back then.
Yep.
And I coached, it was the White Sox. It was just a random group of Bellevue kids that were given to me called the White Sox. My son was 8 or 9. Most of them were 10, okay? And I was so thrilled to be coaching. And the very first practice, the kids are coming up. I'm introducing myself. You know, they're shy. They're 9 years old. I have to go up. And one kid comes up to me and says, "Coach," and he puts his hand out. He says, "My name," can I do it?
Yeah.
My name is Kengo. See, it's a perfect name, isn't it? My name is Kengo. I said, hi, Kengo. He says, and I, coach, am a pitcher. This is 10 years old. I said, no, wait a second, Kengo. It's nice to know that you nice to know you. Can't wait to have you on the White Sox. But you know, at 10 years old, we play everything. I mean, you must love baseball. You love to hit. You love to field. You do other things. No, coach, I am a pitcher. And I said, okay, all right, Kengo. Well, it's good to know you. I hadn't seen him throw a ball, whatever. We start the season. And it's clear from the get-go that Kengo has zero interest in doing anything but pitching at 10 years old. I could put him at shortstop. I can hit him leadoff. He doesn't want to hit. He doesn't want to field. He wants to pitch. He wants to pitch every single game. He wants to pitch it. He wants me to throw his arm out like Ben McDonald at LSU. You remember that? Is that a reference for you?
No, I got
it. So Kengo he's a great kid. And by the way, he ended up pitching in college. He is a pitcher. Okay. So, but I just it was like I couldn't get Kengo's attention. When he, every inning you play different positions at 10. You change them in games. Well, the mighty White Sox start winning games. We're winning 4 in a row, 5 in a row, 8 in a row, 9 in a row. We lose a controversial game to the second best team in the division, the Cardinals. We're 9-1. We win. We run the table from that point on, and it's the last game of the regular season. It's on a Friday, okay? And the playoffs are starting on Saturday morning. And we're like 17-1, 16-1. We are one controversial, one run away from the 72 Dolphins. This is how good we are, okay? We're so damn good. Nobody can beat us. And it's all coaching. It has nothing to do with the kids. It's all coaching. And so we're playing the last game of the year against the Pirates, who are like the 4th best team in our league. The next day is the start of the playoffs. And Kengo, by the way, good pitcher. Not great, not our best, but good pitcher could get the ball over the plate at 10 when you can get the ball over the plate. Okay. So the last game of the year is on a Friday. And we, for some reason, only had 9 players. One guy, I lost one kid in a ski accident. He hurt his leg. He was out. 2 guys missing. I had 9 players that day. And I'm changing positions. We've already won the number 1 seed. We're 17-1, whatever. We're playing the Pirates. And I noticed that complacency has set in, Pop. The kids are grumbling. They're not paying attention. It's the last game of the year. They think they can beat anybody on any given day. And I'm getting pissed with these 10-year-olds. Damn it. And I hear grumbling, and I'm not liking the way. And the Pirates are giving us a run. We should be killing this team. And they're giving us a run because we're complacent. And we get to the last inning, 9 guys, last inning, and I had a little chart with magnets to tell everybody what position they're going to play that inning. I would put it up in between innings, and then they would run out to the position. And we're up 1 going to the bottom of the last inning, whatever it was, 5 innings, whatever the games were. And I put the thing up, and the guys are all looking, and I hear, oh, no. Now, I'm already pissed. And it's because Kengo's like in center field.
Yeah.
And I hear, oh, geez. Oh, no. I'm already pissed. I'm to here. And I said, Kengo, sit down. He says, what? I said, sit down. And I send everybody else out. And I put 1 outfielder in right center and 1 outfielder in left center. And I send 8 onto the field. And I sit Kengo down. And Michael Edwards, the coach of the Pirates, is in the other dugout yelling, Coach, you only have 8 out there. You need a player? I can give you I said, no, Coach. I pulled a Norman. No, my team is on the field. He said, you sure? I got extra guys sitting here. I said, no. We're going to play the guys that want to play, and the guys that are going to grumble are going to sit next to me. Carry on. We're 1 run up. Now, as it turns out, just to give you a sense, we win the game because I had a guy in right center and left center, and a guy gets on second, and some guy blisters one to the alley. And because I only had 8 guys on the field, and I had a guy, it's right at my right center fielder. Otherwise, it would have been if Kengo was out there, it would have been the gap. We would have lost. But we win. This is how everything. Okay. Kengo's crying. It's a full-fledged melt. Now I'm saying, can I change his name now? I should. Kengo's mother comes up to me after we have the team meeting after we win. And I said to the guys, listen, I don't like the way we approach the game today. We won the game, but I'm not happy with our approach. We're starting the playoffs tomorrow, the league playoffs. Then we have the city playoffs. Okay, we have a chance to accomplish all of our goals, but we need to refocus, guys. This was not acceptable today. We need to be better tomorrow. Can we be better tomorrow? Okay. We all, as I'm waiting, as all the kids scatter, the mother, Kengo's mom, is waiting for me, and she says, Coach Mitch, what happened? And I said, nothing. We're all good. Kengo learned a valuable lesson, and we're all good. We got the playoffs tomorrow. What did Kengo do? She says. And I said, well, Kengo and the other guys, they were mumbling and grumbling about what position they were playing, and we had to do what we had to do. And we're over it. It's done. It's off to tomorrow. And she looks at me and she says, Kengo is no longer on the team. He's an embarrassment to my family. He has embarrassed my family, our culture, the team, the White Sox. He will no longer be on the team moving forward. I'm like, wait a second. Hold on a second. He's my Kengo. You standard. What do you can't do? I'm like, no. Let's not overreact. Let's not overreact. It's all over and done with. This happens all the time in sports. People, we all have our days, and it's over now. I'm fine. He's fine. No. He's no longer on the team. And I said, think about this now. You don't want to do this. And I'm thinking, geez, what am I doing? The whole thing's just backfiring. I need him. I need the kid to pitch on Sunday. He's scheduled on Sunday. And she said, no, he's not on the team. And she leaves with him. And I get a text or an email that says, we've talked about this, and Kengo is going to write you a letter and hand it to you before the game, the playoff game tomorrow. And you are to read the letter, and if you accept his apology, he can play in the game, but you are not under any obligation, Coach Mitch, to accept his apology. This is a 9-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid.
I love it.
I get there the next day for the playoff game, and I'm like, and he's the first kid there, and he hands me an envelope that's sealed. And I'm like, what? This is unbelievable. I open the envelope, and there's a handwritten note, and it's the most beautiful handwriting. The kid's got the most, and it's thought out. I mean, a 20-year-old couldn't write this. Dear Coach Mitch, I understand the error of my ways. I feel terrible. I apologize. I'm willing to apologize to the rest. And I didn't need to see any of it. I just wanted Kengo back on the team, for God's sake. So Kengo was welcomed back on the team. And he pitched the second game. We won the league title, and we won the city title. So we finished like 23-1, and Kengo was in the middle of it all. And then we have the infamous end of season pool party. You got to have the of course, got to have the end of the season pool party. And so we're all celebrating. We've won the city title. We're 22-1, whatever it is. Everybody's excited. There's posters being made. And she comes up, the mother says, I want to tell you something, Coach. On that day where you sat Kengo, we went home, and I threw his baseball bag in the trash and left. I said, what? She said, I threw it in the trash, and I left, and I stayed out of friends. I couldn't even stay at home. She literally stayed.
Serious.
Oh my God.
That's my favorite coaching story.
That's how I feel.
Kengo would go on to pitch at Bellevue High School.
Wow.
And be one of the better pitchers in whatever the Kengo conference that he pitched in. Yeah. And I believe I've lost a little track, but I saw him as a senior in high school at like a club, came up to me, was so great. Ended up, I think he went to a Division II school, Division III school, pitched on the college level. And yes, my name is Kengo, and I am a pitcher.
Oh, we end on that one. God, you're such. That's why I love you. You're such a good storyteller. And now I'm going to take
that good of a story.
It was great. All right, we're going to do this every week. Yeah, you decide. You spend the weekend deciding.
You know the listeners or the viewers that kept on saying, "Bring Mitch on, throw him a bone. He's got attorney's fees. He's got trouble in his life. He needs help. Let's let them decide."
Yeah, okay.
Because now we've done it.
Yes.
So let's let your audience decide. And if you want more, we'll do it next week. And if not, it was a good one-time thing. And we.
So decide whether we want to do it next week, and then also give us a name. If you want us to do it, give us a name.
I have to give you a name?
No. The audience is going to give us a name. All right, come up with something.
Yeah.
All right, buddy.
We didn't talk about Seahawks. We
didn't do anything. This is what I like about it. All right. Good luck at whatever your insurance new job is, your insurance salesman job at your office.
Do I look?
That's what it looks like. There it is. The debut, whatever we're going to call it. I'm not sure what we're going to call it. Mitch Levy, Mitch Unfiltered, there on the Daily Puck Drop, which we'll be doing it every week. I think we've landed on Thursdays in which we're going to do it. And we'll have more on it throughout the week. But what we plan on doing, this one will be free no matter what. What we plan on doing is having it during the live show on the Daily Puck Drop on Thursdays. But then once the live show is over, something that I haven't done before, once the live show is over, the Twitter stream, which stays up, that will go dark. But then if you want to watch or listen to it, Mitch's appearance with me, that will be a part of the Puck's Posse membership page. And the membership, which is $5 a month, or you can sign up for a year and get a discount. Now you can go that route. If you haven't signed up for Mitch, you can also go through Mitch Unfiltered. Go to patreon.com/Mitchy the Kid. And so you can go that route as well. Or you can go my route with the Puck's Posse membership, which again, you can sign up at PuckSports.com. At the very top, it will take you there to the sign up. If you're streaming, watching it right now, the QR code on your screen will take you there as well. I hope everybody enjoyed that as much as I did. It was great catching up with him. Normally we're not going to go that long, but it was fun to catch up with him. And he is without a doubt the best storyteller that this market has ever had. And Frank, he's the best storyteller I've ever listened to. And that was a great story. And then a buddy of mine, Ryan, shout out to Ryan Lindsay, sent me the Kango is currently a right-hand pitcher, a junior at Whitman College. How about that? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. What are his stats on the year? Hold on. Well, he's had a little rough year this year. Did not pitch in 24. He's only pitched a couple of innings, but is currently pitching there at Whitman. You guys want to see? I know I can't share it because I'm on a different platform. But hey, good. He's still pitching. God, that's a great story. I love Little League. Love it all. Love coaching. It's going to be sad when it's over. But I think eventually, at least my son in this sport, I think he's going to be kind of glad when Dad's done being the guy. And that's fine. That's okay. It's hard for me to come to that realization, but I think every dad's got to at some point. All right, let me know if you liked it, yay or nay. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You can send me you can send a note in the chat right now, or you can email me, puck@pucksports.com. But Mitch and Puck, Thursdays starting next week. All right. It's a Friday. Again, Jim and Egan not here this week. They'll be back next week. But also we have the Scout that comes on every Friday. A real scoop on the M's in baseball from our anonymous baseball scout. Has been covering the game for the past 30 years. We get into hitting approach, Edgar Martinez, how you calm things down in the batter's box, what he is seeing differently about this team. We also talk about Cole Young, who's on a heater right now for the Rainiers. Lazaro Montes, who is just their prized prospect right now in the minors. I asked him best case scenario when he could arrive. I was surprised with the Scouts' answer. We also discuss Julio Rodriguez cutting down on the strikeouts, increasing his walk percentage, and the Scout very bullish on one Julio Rodriguez. Here he is, the Scout, a Friday tradition here on the Daily Puck Drop and PuckSports.com. Another edition of The Scout, the real scoop on the Mariners and baseball from our anonymous baseball scout, and apparently I've been smoking, who currently works for a Major League Baseball team and has been covering the sport for the past 30 years. Scout, how are you on this Friday?
I'm great, Puck. How you doing, man?
Well, other than, I guess, picking up smoking here in the morning. All right. Hey, lots to cover here on Friday's edition of the Scout. Hey, I want to start off with this, and it's probably obvious, but I want to hear it from a scout's perspective. A lot has been made about, the Mariners offense and what they're doing, the influence of Kevin Seitzer, the influence of Edgar Martinez. Hey, what is it? What's the tangible thing they're doing? Are they getting their hands higher? Are they a different approach in the box? And one thing I've just have kept hearing from the players and everyone that we have on the show and we talk to is it may be just the difference is from Edgar and Kevin Seitzer has just been, hey, get up to the plate and just quiet everything and go up there like it's Little League, see the ball and hit the ball. Scout, it comes to this question, how important is feel or their quiet mindset in the batter's box for these guys?
Well, the best hitters in the world can do that. They can relax and they can be comfortable being uncomfortable. On baseball, it's the only sport you're ever going to play that you're on offense and you don't have the ball, right? So you're already instantly kind of on the defense, right? So you've got to be able to relax and control it. And whether or not, the former hitting coaches for the Mariners were talking the same way the new one, Seitzer and Edgar is. I have no idea, obviously, right? But control of mind gives you a chance to affect your results in a positive way. So it sure seems as if from a viewer's standpoint that it looks like a more relaxed group.
The one thing is do you think this, I don't know how far you want to go back, the new age, right, of analytics and video. I mean, it's been around for a while. Do you think too much of it has paralyzed some hitters?
Absolutely. I think sometimes it's, paralysis by analysis and you have a lot of information. And at the end of the day, I'm a big believer, Puck, that you go up there and you focus on three things: is that you want to be on time, you want to swing at the right pitches, and you want to hit it hard. We talked about launch angle and this and that. It clouds your brain. It's hard enough anyways to hit, right? So I think you got to make it simple. And like I said, we can all judge if you're on it from the outside, but you have no idea what's being talked about in that clubhouse, in that locker room. But it's, the game has changed from the time that Seitzer and Edgar were the great Major League Baseball hitters that they were. So my guess is that they're taking some of the, a lot of the things that they worked on as hitters and passed it on to this generation where a lot of guys were really, really focused on the analytics. And I think there's a mesh and some teams and some players, I think, weren't using that mesh.
Have you seen, what we see at the major league level? Obviously, you see it at the and I'm talking about the analytics and video and all that. How much do you see of that at the scouting level, the lower levels, when we get into high school? Is this something that's even gotten into high school that these players are using now?
Well, just on the high school level. I mean, they do it to train for sure. It's really hard to have data on your high school players when you're evaluating high school players. Only if they're at like national events, and that's why very few high school players get drafted anymore, because Major League Baseball teams want to have data. They want to make sure that they're making quality picks and they want to make data informed decisions. But it has leaked. Obviously, at the college level, it's extreme. At the high school level, not as much, but it's definitely there.
What would you? This might be a difficult question to answer, but I am curious about the advice or what the best route is for a guy that, like, is a top high school player, right? That has the opportunity to be drafted, in the first round by a Major League Baseball team. And with that comes, a lot of money, or going the college route.
No,
that's a difficult, I'm sure it's a difficult question to answer, but I am curious, is there a route that is preferred by many?
Well, it's not really preferred. It all depends. I mean, obviously, I know, Tuck, you've got a son that plays baseball. I think it's more of a personal decision, obviously. With the draft changing, there's only 20 rounds now, right?
Yeah.
It's really, really shrunk, and the percentage of high school players that are drafted are very, very. It's small now. It's smaller just because the ability to be able to play. When it was 50 rounds and you had short season and you had rookie ball, there was way more opportunities for kids to play, and you could sign a high school player and he could go to the complex. Well, now there's no rookie ball. There's no short season. if you sign, you go to the complex, but you got to be ready to play A ball. Everett now, back in the day, Everett was a short season team. Well, now it's a full season team. So it's more, do you have the ability, do you have any tools to allow you to survive that first year as a high school player? It's just really, really difficult. So, the game has made it so it's more advantageous if you go to college first, just because most of these high school players, they're not physically ready. They don't have a carrying tool that could allow them to survive their first couple of years in pro ball, because it's really difficult. So it's turned into more of obviously a college draft. And if you look at just in the big leagues in general, 60% of the big leaguers come from college. About 20% come from high school, and about 20% come as international signs. And I think that'll be even smaller sooner. Like I said, as they went down to the 20-round draft, there's less and less high school players being drafted. But there are players that are ready to sign to start their pro careers from high school.
What's the biggest jump for young players to the majors?
From the minors to the majors, or from just being signed to professional baseball?
Well, let's do both. Let's go. Let's go with the first one. Signed. Let's go making the jump from the minors to the majors, but then also being signed and then going into professional baseball.
Well, I think the difference between the minors and the majors, first off, is the pressure, right? Obviously, just the pressure to play at that stage. Some guys, can never really get comfortable at that level. The pitching is deeper. And really, as an offensive player, when you're getting to the big leagues, there's really no rest, right? Nowadays, each bullpen's got guys, throwing 95 to 100. There's multiple guys. So, they get those starting pitchers out. You used to want to get to the bullpen. Well, now the bullpens, they're dominant, right? So you're just, so on the offensive end, I think it's a little easier, honestly, right now to pitch at the big league level than it was in the past, because obviously the advanced metrics, what they can do defensively, what hitters are trying to do. I don't love some of the offensive approaches in the Major League Baseball, because, home runs and those types of things, they sell tickets, and there's a lot of swing and miss in the game right now, and it's okay, because they're looking for extra velocity and they're trying to hit the ball over the fence. But like I said, it's just that could be difficult. I think it's more difficult for a high school player to start his professional career than it is from a guy to get from AAA to the big leagues, just because it's such a huge jump. They're playing with guys much older than them. For the most part, if you are, starting your career out of high school, you're an 18-year-old kid going to A ball. Guys there are 23, 24 years old. There's a 5-year difference. There's not a huge age difference sometimes from some of these minor leaguers to the big leaguers, but most often it's, you've got enough tools to survive up there, but do you have the mentality? Do you have the habits? Do you have the belief in yourself? There's so many things that, that take place.
Two guys that we have talked about in the past. I want to revisit them if we can here for a second. Cole Young, past 11 games. He didn't start off great, but past 11 games, he started to really heat up there for Tacoma. His slash line's 302, 362, 581, 90, 943 OPS. We've talked about his bat before. We've talked about him as a player. When you envision him, what his step will be at the major league level, do you envision him more as a second baseman or a shortstop?
Well, I used to, the thing about a high school player, when you sign a high school player, Puck, you can still dream. You can project a little bit more. Bodies can still kind of change. You can kind of, gain athleticism. He's got enough range. He's got enough arm to play short. I mean, he does. So that's what the hope is. My guess is the hope for the Mariners is he's an everyday shortstop. Obviously, with JP getting older, and then obviously it's a lot easier to acquire other players if let's say you trade a shortstop. I'm not saying they're going to trade him, but obviously when you're a shortstop, you can bring more value. And I think he's got a chance to stick there. A lot of times guys don't play. Maybe they'll stick at second if they've got a guy ahead of them. But I could see him definitely staying at shortstop. He's a contact guy. He comes from a cold weather area, right? So there's even more. You can project on him a little bit more too, as well. Saying like, hey, he hasn't played as much, but he's got versatility. Right now he's got a lot of doubles power. There's more arms. There's more power in there too. He's going to hit home runs as he grows, and I think he's going to be a really, really quality everyday shortstop in the big leagues.
Is he more of a throw? You kind of were going down that rabbit hole of hitters, and that you don't really like the way that people approach the plate in today's game. Is he more of a throwback, or is he more of what the new style is in baseball?
I think he's an athlete, and he's more of a throwback. He's a high contact guy, right? He's he's a solid runner. He's an average runner, so there's an ability to, some guys that are below average runners usually not at that position. Below average runners want to hit it over the fence because they're not going to do anything with their legs. They're not going to steal bases, take extra bases. But he's one of those guys. He's a young, exciting player. He hits the ball hard, and he makes a ton of contact. I'm just, as a former college coach, I just. I hate the punch out. I hate that when guys are striking out, not putting pressure on the defense. So he's one of those guys that's going to put the ball in play.
Yeah. I'm going to throw you a curveball here real quickly. Then just the way that you've described kind of the player that you like, and I'd be curious if you had any notes on him when he was coming up. You must love the way that Jacob Wilson for the A's plays.
Yeah, I saw him at Grand Canyon when he was a college player. He's definitely he's an outlier, man. He's a unicorn. He doesn't walk, but he also doesn't strike out. He's got big league pedigree. Dad was a longtime Major League Baseball infielder. He hits the ball hard. He's even though he's 21, you look at him sometimes he looks like he's 16 years old. He's still baby faced and he's projectable. So. He's one of those guys, and there was kind of some questions about the lifting and kind of the way he did his thing through college. So you're looking at a guy that's probably, going to be able to project too. He's going to probably gain another 20 pounds in the next 3 or 4 years in his professional career. So being a high contact guy, being a great defender, and with strength comes he'll be able to hit it over the fence. You're talking about maybe one of those premium players in Major League Baseball.
Lazaro Montes, 277, 580 slugging. He's got an OPS of 986. I mean, we know about the bat. What about everything else? The overall player, the defense, the arm, the running. When you've watched him play.
Yeah, I mean he's got an average arm to above average arm all day long. He's an average runner. He's not Julio, so don't take it like that. But when I started working for the club that I work for, Buck, I saw Julio in Everett, and I had no idea. I thought Julio was going to be, honestly, more like Montes, even though he's older. But I kind of thought he was going to be that type of player, big, more physical right fielder type. But Montes is a little bit like Julio too as well. He's more athletic than you think. He's a below average defender right now. He's better underway as a runner. His first step isn't great, but as he gets going, he gets, he runs better. But in the big scheme of things, I mean, he's a monster, and it's all about the bat and him hitting it over the fence. He's got as much power as anybody around, and if he keeps progressing, and one day when he's in the big leagues, that he might be considered the guy that has the most power in all of Major League Baseball.
Best case scenario, and I know you guys hate putting timelines on this one, but just give me a best case.
Best case scenario, for him, I'd say like a September call up
of this year.
He could. I don't see it happening, but I mean, if you're asking best case scenario, I would say yeah. I mean, he'll be in Double-A. I bet you before you know it. And if he puts up good numbers in Double-A, especially if he gets up in Double-A, by July, which could definitely happen because he was in Everett last year anyways. If he gets up to Double-A and has a really strong Double-A, I could see him. But I think more than likely, he's a guy that probably would go to spring training next year and really potentially fight to make that roster.
Ben Williamson, we talked a lot about him, in previous shows. Has he even surprised you what he's been able to do at the major league level?
Yeah. I mean, you knew he was going to be he's a good athlete. He can play multiple spots, and he's a really good defender at third base. He's obviously holding his own and doing a little bit more offensively. So, I think he's kind of one of those reasons why the Mariners are doing what they're doing. There was a big question mark about their offense, but they're getting contributions from guys like Ben, and he's definitely a part of that offense that's making them more potent than people thought they would be.
Yeah. This is going to be I'm trying to figure out the best way to phrase this because I think when I think about it, it just seems like, well, it's kind of obvious because they can do it. But when you scout a player, how do you determine whether or not that player is clutch? Because I'm trying to think is there something that maybe a scout saw in Cal Raleigh when he was young that said, this guy really is terrific under pressure, and he's got that it factor about him that when the game's on the line or the situation that he comes up there and he's not going to feel too much pressure that he's going to deliver. How can you tell that as a scout?
I don't know if you can. I mean, there's some scouts that might say that they can. I mean, you can look into numbers. Hey, as a college player, let's just talk about Cal Raleigh. You can go back and look at the numbers. How was he on Friday night in the ACC? He played at Florida State. Was he getting his hits on Sundays and Tuesdays against the guys that aren't the best guys, or was he clutch on Friday night? Was he getting the big hits on a Friday night against the other big pitchers in the country, right? So there's ways like that. But, as many games that you watch, you can see it both ways. I've watched many players who's like, gosh, every time this guy hits in a big situation, it's a bat at bat. So then you look at him and like, hey, he doesn't have a lot of cuts. We call him an automatic car, and then you see that guy that just always seems to be in the mix in the big situation. So, and you like I said, I'm doing notes this morning. I was at a high school game yesterday, Puck, and I've got to finish a report on a young player that I hadn't seen yet. So especially when you're an area, it's a little bit different on the amateur side. When you're an area scout, you're going to see that player over and over and over again. But there's layers of scouting, there's cross-checking, and there's national advisors. So it kind of all depends how you see them. And some of those area scouts, they can kind of, talk a little bit about the more of a clutch of a player because they see him more often.
Yeah. With the addition of Tavares, what does that do here for the Mariners and their outfield? This guy a couple of years ago was a very good player there for the Rangers. They gave up on him, and the Mariners snatch him up. What type of player are the Mariners getting? What do you think he can provide to the squad?
I just think he's just some more flexibility, right? They just give you some more flexibility and some more experience. And then my guess is with the experiences he has, you're talking about more professional bats. And as you started the broadcast today, just about what the difference is. And I think obviously, when you're bringing guys like that, if you look at their team, I don't think they're bringing in players with high ceilings. I think they're bringing in players with higher floors and low ceilings. So that way they're really interchangeable, right? And they can bring guys in and out and until they can figure out that lineup exactly the way they want it. But I just think experience and professionalism is what he brings.
Julio, two things you can look at with Julio this year, Scout, last thing for you. He's dropped his K percentage. Last year was at 25.4%. It's at 19.9% now. He has increased his walk percentage from 6.2 to 10.2%. Those two numbers would tell you what, and what do you think that leads to the rest of the summer for him?
Well, my guess is it's probably like we talked about earlier with Seitzer and Edgar, not a bunch of swing and miss type guys, right? So I'm quite sure that mentality of, looking for your pitch, and the thing about Julio's, young players think they've got to get their swing off early, right? Well, Julio's the type of guy that can hit any pitch, any location out of the house. I mean, he has that type of talent. So his patience, right, is going to get him in the count more often, right? Because it's not like they're just going to challenge him. You watch a lot of at-bats early in his careers where, he was chasing a little bit. And then they have the count. Like, they don't want to throw it right down the middle of that guy. He's scary, man. He's the scariest guy in that lineup. So they're always going to be really cautious to him. So my guess is as you're growing, he's 24 years old, right? But he's just been around so long that I think the expectations for him are a little unrealistic and they're high. And I think it has something to do with obviously, his personality, the contract that he signed, all those types of things. I'm just not going to ever stop saying it. I think he's one of the top 10 players in baseball. And I think he's just hitting his prime right now. He's just going to start to get in the prime of his career. And I think the Seattle Mariner fans are going to end up witnessing, maybe it's hard for me to tell you the best center fielder I've ever had, Puck. Being a Northwest guy growing up, I love myself some King Griffey Jr., but he's the next thing they got.
There you go. High praise there from the scout. All right, there he is. Every Friday, the real scoop on the M's in baseball from our anonymous baseball scout. Has been currently working for a Major League Baseball team. Has been covering the sport for the past 30 years. Scout, get back to work, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Bob.
There it is. Another edition of the Scout, a Friday tradition here on the Daily Puck Drop. And, of course, PuckSports and PuckSports.com. Love what he said about Lazaro Montes. I want to go and see him play before he leaves. And again, and as I prefaced that to him, and I guess I was a little surprised, like best case scenario. So I guess that would be the best case scenario was that he would maybe get a September call, but likely that next year as they go into spring training. I saw him play one time last year. Went up to an Aqua Sox game. Yeah, he's the guy that gets off the bus. And you're like, holy shit. This guy is just a beast, an absolute beast. Big thanks again to the Scout every Friday. And again, if you're coming to the show late, it was the debut of Mitch Unfiltered. Mitch Levy was on the program earlier today. 40 minutes of it. It's pretty much at the start of the show. Mitch and I will be doing something weekly starting next week. Now, again, a reminder, starting next week when we do it, and we'll play it live, the episode live. But once it's over, once we're done at 11:30, that it will not be part of the regular podcast on YouTube and the rest of the podcast platforms. It will be for Puck's Posse members. So if you want to sign up, PuckSports.com, sign up, $5 a month. You can also sign up, and if you are already a Mitch Unfiltered subscriber on patreon.com/Mitch the Kid, you will have access to it as well. But if you're not a subscriber to either, pick one, pick both. I don't, whatever you want to do to get full access to it starting next week. All right, let's wrap up the show with Hey, What the Puck, which is brought to you by our good friends at Restoration One of North Seattle. It's your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when those damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. I thought a lot about this today. It was a big topic on MLB Central this morning. If you're not familiar with the story with Rafael Devers, of course, a fantastic hitter, baseball player with the Red Sox. Remember in the offseason and spring training, you know, their recruitment, eventually they get him or Alex Bregman. They sign Alex Bregman. They told Devers, hey, he's taking your job. He's going to play third base. And, you know, here's a guy that signed a $313 million contract that went into effect last year, right? This year, maybe. And, you know, he's like, I'm the guy that you paid. Why do I have to leave third base? F you. But the numbers and just the play on the field is that Alex Bregman's a better third baseman. Now, Rafael Devers is a hell of a hitter. It's a great hitter. That's why he's paid. Got to a slow start, then really started cooking. Well, there's an injury. Tristan Casas, who was the guy that was been mentioned to the Mariners all offseason long about trading Castillo and others to get the first baseman. He got an injury. He's out. So now they're like, hey, would you go play? We're trying to put the best team out there. Devers, would you go play first base? And through an interpreter, and this is where things can get lost through an interpreter and all that, said, no, I'm not playing that. You guys told me to put my glove away during spring training. You didn't want me to play third base. You wanted me to play DH. I'm not playing first base. And I know there's been a lot of people that have come to the defense of Devers, or at least said, hey, there's a human element to it. He feels slighted. And, you know, he's hearing one thing from the organization, and now they want him to do something else. And he had a comment, you know, through his interpreter, again, which things can get lost, and said, they just want me to play everywhere. You know, they just want to pick a new position and have me play everywhere. No, they want you to play first base because it helps the team. See, it's a team game. You do what's right for the team. You protect the team. Team comes first. The name on the front's more important than the name on the back. And that's, I hope Devers, he eventually realized it with the third base situation with Bregman. I hope he realizes it with this. He says he's not going to. He also said he has the backing of his teammates inside that clubhouse. I no doubt think they like him, and when I'm not in there, none of us are in there. But there, you cannot tell me that there aren't people inside that clubhouse shaking their head, players, his teammates going, what the fuck, man? They're asking you to play first base because you're a hell of a player and you're going to help the team. That's the thing, and that's why people should have a problem with this. I have a problem with it. I'm not a Red Sox fan, but that was like somebody on the Mariners pulling this. Like, number one is to just help the team at whatever level, majors, college, minors, high school, little league. Do whatever you can to help the team. And Rafael Devers is violating that code in sports. And that code in sports is always team first. And Rafael Devers has come across as a very selfish, me first, me only player. You've got your money. That money's not going anywhere. They paid you a lot to help the team. Go help the team. Don't be a selfish player. Be a team player. All right, that's it. Hey, What the Puck, brought to you by Restoration One in North Seattle. It's your restoration company that lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. They are locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when those damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. Thank you for everyone watching and listening today to today's show. Thank you to all of our sponsors, Limback Lumber, Clean Streak, Georgetown Brewery. Check out their new tavern beer, georgetownbeer.com, and, of course, Restoration One. Today's Daily Puck Drop, you can find it up on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel, like the channel, leave comments. Also, find the Daily Puck Drop on your favorite podcast platforms. Doesn't matter what it is. And, of course, you can find everything up at PuckSports.com. When you're there, again, sign up, become a member of the Pucks Posse. You won't regret it. $5 a month. Get all the free content we do, plus VIP and exclusive shows. We keep adding stuff. Our baseball coverage with Ryan Divish, Sports Pit with Steve Sandmeyer, Matt Stretch Johnson, Graz with Gas, Take 5 podcast. We're now producing it. Puck Sports, new episodes every Monday on YouTube and all podcast platforms. Just search Graz with Gas, Take 5. Of course, you can find everything up at pucksports.com. And starting next week, we got to come up with a title. Our new feature with Mitch Levy, Mitch Unfiltered, which we will play live, but once it's over the live show, it will go and be exclusively for Puck's Posse members. It was a blast doing it today. I hope everybody else enjoyed it. I hope everybody enjoyed the show today. Have a wonderful weekend. Again, happy Mother's Day to all you beautiful moms out there. You guys are the rocks of the family. Thank you for everything you do. Hug your mom if you don't have your mom. Just think about the great memories that you had with her. And if you have a mom, hug them. And to all the wives out there and all the moms, it's your day. Every day is your day. But really, Sunday's your day. Thank you for everything that you do. We're keeping the family straight. We would have men and dads. We'd have nothing organized because we're idiots. We're absolute putzes. So thank you to all your moms out there. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to my beautiful mom. See you tomorrow. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you on Monday. As always, promise me better.
No shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah.
I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for?
We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!